All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's July 8th, and it's time for another video. It's hotter than heck up here in New Hampshire. It's pretty much 90 degrees, which is really unusual. And I guess in jolly old England, it doesn't get this hot because these beagles are definitely panting today. Uh, this is my attempt to say hello to a lot of people and pass on good wishes. I really, it's the best way I can come up with to extend my greetings to a whole bunch of people, usually twice a year. And I have a lot to go through, so I hope you bear with me. This is a big anniversary this time of year because get a load of this, it's my 43rd year since graduation from veterinary school. That's kind of a long time. It seems like it was just yesterday that the football stadium was filled up, and it was filled up with all the parents and guests of all the graduates at Cornell, thousands, and they announced the College of Veterinary Medicine, and we all stood up and waved our rectal sleeves and spelled cow. And that was it. They gave us our diplomas and we were on our way. But it's been a good 43 years, and I have nothing to complain about. It seems like the COVID thing has made business busy. So as sad as it is, there is a silver lining here. July 4th, Declaration of Independence. Actually, the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 2nd, but it was adopted on the 4th. I always think of several things every July 4th, such as the two presidents that for many years hated each other, Adams and Jefferson. It all centered around the election of 1800, and Jefferson defeated Adams. He would not give him a second term, and it was so bad that Adams didn't even go to the inauguration. Yet they later in life became best friends, and get a load of this, they both died on the same day, July 4th, 1826. And then there's Joey Chestnut. How many of you have heard of Joey Chestnut? He's a July 4th fixture. This is the guy that always wins the Nathan's Hot Dog Contest on Coney Island. And this year it was like his 13th title. I don't know if they've been in a row, but 13 titles. And he ate 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Wow, that's pretty impressive. He's also known for the Big Mac contest. He ate 32 of them in a half hour, I think. So, Joey Chestnut. Coronavirus. Can't leave without saying something about coronavirus. It has affected the golf world. You can't touch the flag at the hole. You can't share a cart with anyone, I guess, other than a family member. You certainly can't share clubs, not that anyone would want to. 6 feet apart. I have nothing to worry about. Half the time my ball is in the woods. I think we're a good 6 feet apart at that point. And you know, in the last video that was the Corona special video, I talked about prednisolone or prednisone as a treatment. Well, since I last spoke to you, dexamethasone, that's another cortisone. Get a load of this. This was our go-to drug in vet school, dexamethasone. And very few of us even keep it in the office anymore. I do, but most of us don't. It's old-fashioned, but I still have a couple uses for it. But get a load of this. 30% less deaths they are finding with the use of dexamethasone. I bet you can't even find this stuff anymore. All right, under odds and ends, here's something. Did you ever wonder if Warren Buffett and Jimmy Buffett have anything in common? I've thought about this for a long time. If you come up with something, let me know. And what's up with the John Denver song, I'm Sorry? I heard it recently on the radio. You know, it's a really sweet song until he gets to the line, I'm sorry for the way things are in China. I'm still thinking about that one. Adult beverage. I don't know who came up with this term, but we all know what adult beverage is. But frankly, when I think of the word adult beverage, I think of Boost or Ensure. So that's a little unusual. And when you all have some free time, I sometimes listen to a show on the radio called The Moth. People get up, tell their stories. Most of the time, it's kind of boring. Why wouldn't it be? But there's this one guy that got up and he fascinated me. His name is Dr. George Lombardi, and he had a story about treating Mother Teresa. You've got to hear this story. It will knock you off your seat. So Dr. George Lombardi, Mother Teresa, and it's kind of on a show called The Moth. It's years ago. What's up with the phrase cautiously optimistic? Frankly, I hear this from time to time, and it's kind of an insult to the word optimistic to throw cautiously in front of it. I have other English 101 complaints. I might as well bring them up right now. Dry run. They talk about a dry run for this vaccine they're producing, but what is a wet run? I mean, this has got to be, dry run has to be some kind of idiom. That's all I can come up with. And how about to be honest with you? Do people ever go around and say to be dishonest with you? I mean, kind of, you wonder where these things come from. And then lately, I'll get right back to my pet peeve with some of this stuff. Functionality, mechanistic. I mean, what was wrong with functional and mechanical and nationalistic? Do we get a tax rebate for using extra letters? And just today, I heard the phrase significant other. Well, I really think we need to introduce the other side of this, which is the insignificant other. So I wish we would all start using that one as well. I do have a couple other gripes. Have you noticed the F word on t-shirts? I mean, it's one thing to say it in the privacy of your own home, but walk around with a t-shirt? And they come in my office. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm also getting sick of all the loud cars and motorcycles. We live on a road that used to be real quiet in Jersey, and some of these motorcycles go by and the china falls off the shelf. And here's another one. They're building a home down about a half mile from our house. I swear this home is so big that it has 15 bedrooms. It's bigger than a hotel. Why? And what's up with all the mattress sales, the mattress stores, online stores? It seems like they're coming out of the woodwork. It's almost like the puppy craze going on at my office. I was in FedEx the other day mailing something, and this guy was picking up a mattress in a box. Now here's the funny part, he couldn't lift it. But anyhow, and it's returnable, by the way, so good luck getting that mattress back in the box and schlepping it to FedEx. My wife, Mendy, oh boy, she is in pain. She's got some crazy back leg thing going on. We thought it was sciatica, now it may be a disc or a joint thing. She's not big on doctors, so we don't really have a diagnosis at this point. And to add insult to injury, she woke up one morning with a blurry eye. She couldn't really see out of it. I took her to 2 eye doctors, and both of them said that there was nothing wrong with her. So you've heard that people say you're seeing things. In her case, it's you're not seeing things. Not long ago, in the kind of springtime, I ran a rabies clinic. In Jersey, veterinarians are asked to run rabies clinic where you vaccinate dogs for rabies for free. It's an old, archaic New Jersey statute. But the funny part is you have to get all the personal information on a rabies form to get it done. And this woman came in with what she called a Cavasoo, which is a Cavalier and a Shih Tzu. But we asked her to spell it for the paperwork, and that's where it got pretty interesting. She went C-A-V. Just write down it's a mutt. That's how we finished that one. And and electricity. We are having the world's worst time with electric failures at all our homes, at work. It's just I'm on a really sad streak here. I walked into the grooming room at the office, flipped on the switch, no electric in the whole room. Circuit breakers were fine. Would you believe a wire just disconnected somewhere in the ceiling? And then in another room, the exam room, the whole light fixture died. I mean, how often does that happen? I mean, just dead. And then up here in New Hampshire, we turned on the air conditioner for about the only day of the year we use it, and a transformer blew up in it. And this is interesting. About 3 weeks ago, a storm went through South Jersey. This was incredible. They called it get a load of this, they called it a derecho. I had to look it up. 700,000 people lost power, including us, for a number of days. They had to send repair people from all of the surrounding states, and they moved around like swarms of bees. They would descend on different neighborhoods till they got everything going. It's actually got a fancy name called a mesoscale convection system. Anyhow, this thing came through, and in the course of about 30 seconds at our home, it ripped the power line right out the front of the house. I mean, it was laying in the driveway. Just this big thick wire just pulled right out of the house. It took the wood with it, took our meter with it. I got to know the guy at the gas station really well, because about every 10 hours I had to go get a huge thing of gas to keep the generator going. And I had free electricity for 3 weeks, because once they finally repaired our electric, we had no meter. And that's up to me to hire someone. And they said they'd give me a month. So 3 weeks, no electric bill. I think that's a pretty good deal. The wood got repaired, so we're almost back to normal. But one of the funnier things is I would sit down in like a lazy boy in the living room, where there's a skylight in that room, and there was this little branch, and it must have fallen, on the roof. And Mendy said, how do you know it's a little branch? And I said, I don't. And so when I got enough energy, I got a ladder out, went up on the roof. There was a tree up there, a tree. I had to bring a chainsaw and saw up a tree on the roof. How often do you do that? All right, that was the storm. We get a lot of these things during the summer. Now, have you ever gone through the course of the day and you hear something and say, that would make a great title for a song? Well, that's what happens at the Health Fat House. Like you're taking stuff out of the dryer and you go, there's socks in your socks. Well, I think that'd be a great song. There's socks in your socks. Of course, one of my favorites is We All Have Issues. That I think we all say that. And then with Mendy's back problem, which is going on about 3 months now, I've heard her say, I don't mind the spasm, but it's the pain. Well, that sounds like a country song. What do they call that? 3 chords and the truth. I don't mind the spasm, but it's the pain. And then I have to say, I have heard her mutter, I have a migraine in my ass. Well, I think this could hit the charts as #1. I want to give you a little advice column, something I wanted to add to this. When you're trying to sell something, I don't know how many of you are in the merchandising business, but veterinary medicine to a certain degree is. Here's some advice. If you want to sell something, start with an incredibly outrageous high price. And then as time goes on, bring it down to what you normally would sell it for, and you'd be surprised how successful this can be. I actually recall when Atopica, which is a cyclosporine, there was no generic. And I had to treat this dog a number of years ago for probably a funky skin condition. And the owner, man, woman, wanted to know what the cost would be for 3 months of Atopica. So, right off the top of my head, I said, I'm afraid to say about $750. Well, I had to get the smelling salts out because that was outrageous. And so, I said, well, hold on. Let me go, there was no computer back then. Let me go pull up the price list from the company. Well, I came back and said $600, and she jumped on it, whoever it was, jumped on it like no tomorrow. So, very sound advice. Now, here's something I'd recommend to everyone. If you ever want to make someone's day, ask them to tell a story. I find this to be just the most incredibly rewarding thing to bestow upon someone, and plus could be rewarding for you too. I mean, in my 40 plus years of exam room visits and farm calls, oh my God, the farm calls, once you get someone started on a story, you can just see their eyes light up. So keep that in mind. Now here's something I want to quickly talk to you about. It's a sad, somewhat of a sad situation, but we have a very good friend up here named John, and an excellent human being, and he's the first person we met on our road when we moved in. He has done so much for us over the years. He literally built our dock from scratch. He volunteered to put up our satellite dish, and I have to tell you, I have a satellite dish at several houses, and this dish gets 100% reception. John also helps me every fall drag this huge dock out of the water. It's solid wood. It's got to weigh hundreds of pounds, and the two of us have done this for numerous years. It's usually October and maybe November, and I do recall one year where the both of us took a swim because we had taken the bolt out of the wrong piece and didn't realize it didn't float. But anyhow, to get to my point, John is very ill. He's received some very poor diagnosis and a poor prognosis. And though none of you know John, I wish that in your own way, in your own heart, you wish him well and say a prayer for him. Wish him comfort, wish him peace, and the same for his lovely wife, Sue, and family. And I'm blessed to have known you, John, and may God bless you. Sometimes it's easier to talk to an iPhone than it is to talk to someone in person. Maybe that's why we have psychiatrists. So if any of you want to send me a bill, fine. This has helped me a lot. Finally, let's get to my grand finale. What's up with all the statues? I know, we all have different opinions about this. Poor Columbus, and we won't even get into the Confederate statues. I get the biggest kick, though, out of Frank Rizzo. He was a mayor of Philadelphia, and if you ever look this guy up, I'm not quite sure why the statue was even put up for Frank. That one came down. I think they took it down and put it somewhere before it got blown up. Well, anyhow, this all makes us pretty nervous, Mendy and I, because we have our statue of Shiloh at Virginia Tech. And, I'm worried that there's going to be some dirt on Snoopy pretty soon, or something about beagles having an evil life, and boom, that sculpture's coming down. All I can say is it's not a real good time to be a statue or a sculptor. And that's all I have to say about that. Between the pandemic and the social unrest and a presidential election and a conspiracy theory every 5 seconds. And did I mention a pandemic? I'm reminded of a verse. I always throw in a little philosophy, religion, but I'm reminded of a verse that comes up from time and again in the Old Testament and the New Testament. I thought I would bring it to your attention. It goes, eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to understand. Eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to understand. That has a lot there. And I'll finish up. The other day I was reading something, and it brought to mind one of my favorite books and movies, which is To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, we can all see Gregory Peck. Just one of the most fantastic roles ever performed. But there are 10, 20 quotes in this movie, that are priceless. And let me just go over 3 of them and say goodbye. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb inside of his skin and walk around in it. People generally see what they look for and hear what they listen for. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. All right, that's a lot to put there at the end, but I think we're good till January. And as the British say, Bob's your uncle. And I hope to speak to you around the new year.